Coming to you from the Radio for One studios in Franklin, Michigan. Welcome to the Detroit Cast.
Big fan. Big fan.
A show not just free of charge, but free of FCC regulations.
Thank you for your support of the Detroit Cast.
Oh, there it is.
And without further delay, it's showtime. Please welcome the Detroit Cast. Here are your hosts, Mike and Jay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Detroit Cast, powered by DealsInTheD.com with Mike and Jay. Shalom, Biggie. Hello, Jay.
Michael, how are you?
The fuck is going on with your face?
Yeah, it's a Prince beard, dude.
Oh, it looks pretty good, actually.
Thank you.
Not bad. Do you feel like a douche? You do, don't
Do
you?
I look like a douche?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do.
You look like you still have like you're a manly douche. You don't look like a boy band douche.
You know what it was? Isis and I had the great pleasure of going to Detroit Barbers in Corktown yesterday. They had kind of like an open house. Actually, it was like a Yelp thing, wasn't it, E?
Like what? Like a media day / Yelp thing.
Yeah, I guess Yelpers, if you're a good Yelper,
This
you
is
get
something I need to
invited stuff.
get on top of, by the way.
Interestingly, as a side note. But anyway, it's one of these events, and so I signed up, they're going to show you how they do facial shit, right?
And this is where E got his head shaved.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a really cool barbershop right
Corktown.
downtown. Yeah, it's really, really nice place. But I'm first in line.
Nice.
To,
I'm a line of about 30.
dude, E and I go in there, and we're like, look, we got to walk out of here with Prince beards, right? Because we all mourn and pay homage in different ways. You like to wear the red raspberry beret.
Sure.
Maybe some frilly pirate shirts.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to wear the Prince beard,
Yeah.
To mark the event, his untimely passing each March, April. So we go in there with that idea. We're getting Prince beards, and I'm first in line. I sit down, and Derek, my barber, he's one of these guys with the grand beard and fully
God love him.
tatted arms and all this shit.
Sure.
He's ready to go, and he goes, what am I doing?
Did you say, I want the Peter Bravestrong?
No, I said I want the Prince beard. He goes, are you sure? Because as soon as I start this, I got to go with it. I'm like, dude, I'm sure. He's like, I like that, because most people get too possessive about their facial hair. I'm like, no, not me.
It comes back.
I like to experiment. So he starts going, and I think what he did was he was saving me from me. I think most of us would look at this and go, it's got to be a little thinner.
Yeah.
It's got to be a little tighter.
Yeah.
But I think he was like,
Oh, he could have gone tighter. I mean, he knew what he was doing.
Really walk out of here
Did
with a
he
Prince
do,
beard.
like,
Dude, he did my
your
little
Ho Chi Minh thing?
He did my little smedge here, the soul patch.
Yeah.
Complimented me on my soul patch, by the way.
Yeah, you've got great
Thank
facial
you.
hair. You
Thank
really
you.
do.
Nice and
There's a lot
thick,
to work with. You don't have bald spots.
Yeah, a lot of people get patchy, including Isis.
Isis, I kind of can lose out here a little bit, but yours is just...
It's a nice slate to work with.
It's very manly.
So I think Derek appreciated that.
Sure.
Fun for him a little bit, I think. So he started to go down here and get really tight. He used probably 6 different instruments, right?
At least, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you're talking to straight edge, too,
He's
then and
straight
stuff.
razored down here, like under my soul
nicks?
patch and everything. No, Mike, he's a professional.
Oh, okay. All right.
I've never been straight razored. I have to tell you, it's a little bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Oh, it
Isn't
looks...
it,
See, when
Isis?
they're down by the freaking
Yeah.
Adam's apple, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
Yeah.
just...
What if Barber Derek wants to go psycho on us for a second?
he could.
Gotta
Good,
trust
good.
that dude.
Is it like a baby's bottom, though? Is it just...
Well,
when
it
you
was
first get it
yesterday, yeah. It's
last
as
night.
tight a shave as you'll ever get. But,
Wow.
But he's right. There were probably 20-plus people watching, and I honestly thought, I'd go, yeah, Prince beard, and he'd go, all right, you're good, dude.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot of people in line. But he took his time. He's an artist.
Yeah.
And I started
Can't
feeling
rush the
bad,
work.
like, oh, crap, I'm getting this douche beard just for fun, right? And there's people
Just to laugh
who
about.
really want beard trims. And so
Yeah.
I told Isis, I'm like, dude, we got to nix this. We got to move out of here.
Oh, is that why E doesn't
Yeah.
have a fancy...
Oh, I definitely would have done it, but the guy was just... I mean, he was too good at what he did. I guess
was.
if that's a problem, I mean...
God, his really does look like he just woke up in the morning, put some glue on his face, took a handful of pubes,
Put him by a fan.
and just whap,
I know.
whap, and he's just got... I mean, that's what it looks like a fourth grader that wants to glue some pubes onto his
And I will say, our boy Mike was there, too, last
yeah,
night. the
Barber
one who-
Mike, the guy who freshly sheared E a
Yeah,
couple
yeah,
months
yeah.
ago. And
Did he remember you guys?
He did. He's like, hey, it's grown in nice. It's good.
Yeah.
But thanks to owners Jamie and Chad, they have a real cool thing going there,
Yeah.
Corktown and also Ferndale. So check them out, Detroit Barbers.
Yeah, a lot of fun, and they're up for Prince beers. They do spectacular work. Lot to get to today. A lot going on. We've got an exciting interview as well with Michelle Assad. She is a former CIA agent.
Whoa.
New book out, Breaking Cover, My Secret Life in the CIA and What It Taught Me About What's Worth Fighting For. I love these books, man.
Oh, yeah.
These, like, kind of boots on the ground and
Sure.
what the world is like.
Well, interestingly, her husband was also an agent.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the heck? A husband-wife team in the Middle East
Yeah. How
during
scary.
the whole heart of the counterterrorism effort.
Oh, imagine sitting face to face with a jihadist, a hardened jihadist, and you're a woman trying to interrogate him and
Right.
break him. Holy shit. So we should have fun with her. That's coming up in a little bit. I did want you guys to know right out of the gate, as fast as I could tell you guys, we've got some breaking news here that the NFL Competition Committee has made a ruling finally. Des Bryant and Calvin Johnson, those were catches. Yep.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
So the Lions
Unanimous
get that-
decision, too. Unanimous decision. So what was that? Was Calvin's in 2008?
Complete the process, right? That's where that whole
Yes.
phrase came.
Oh, so I don't know what we do. Do we like get the
Lions
guys
get-
back on the field and finish this up or what? What do
Yeah,
I do?
do they then make the playoffs? Or
That was
how
a
did
big game that year
It's
in the
against the
end.
Bears, right?
Yeah. Des Bryant's was in a playoff game
Yeah.
Right.
against the Packers on a 4th down at the 1-yard line, going in for the winning touchdown, and ended up losing to the Packers. But Giants owner John Mara says, "Yep, the committee appears to have a unanimous conclusion that those catches were in fact good." Yeah, no shit. We knew that right when we watched
Yeah.
it on TV. They're looking to adjust the rule to relax the going to the ground requirement,
There you go.
which
It's getting hyper technical.
it's getting comically stupid.
When they looked at the one in the Super Bowl, the tight end who got into the end zone after
Yeah.
taking like 2 strides, and they're like, well, maybe not, though.
I don't know,
And
come
they talk about it for 12 minutes about how maybe it's not a catch. And, dude, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Common sense, man. The guy caught the ball and dove.
Yeah. And that was what was so frustrating. That's what's always been so frustrating because it takes normal people like you go, oh yeah, obviously a catch. Oh, you see when he fumbled it, he took a step and a half and a guy popped him and that's when the ball came out. That's a fumble. He caught it. It's just so dumb. And so they even the NFL has acknowledged, okay, this is ridiculous.
A
We
little
need to
hyper technical.
Yes. The other thing that they're looking into as far as changes, the possibility of eliminating defensive pass interference to 15 yards.
I don't think that's a bad idea either.
Instead of
honestly.
the Hail Mary 80-yard pass and you get some weak pass interference call and it's an 80-yard penalty.
Yeah, Bryant Westbrook versus Randy Moss. You know, how frustrating was that back in the day? Just like watching the Vikings just, I don't know, 60-yard gains.
Yeah,
Just chuck
yeah.
it up there.
And it was like, okay, well, your two choices are get called for a penalty or just let him catch it
Yeah.
because there's there's nothing else you can do. He's got 6 inches on you and it's
Yeah, it's
dumb.
about 6. Yeah, you're right.
About
It's about
6,
Divide that by 3. and
Multiply that by 2. Get down in there. Yeah.
It's about 6, yeah.
Is there any rules that you would want to change that you can think of off the top of your head?
No, Mike, not at all. I haven't thought about football much at all, honestly.
Well, there's one because I like the college game. I kind of wish the NFL would lose the 2 feet in bounds. To me, it's like you catch the ball, you got a body part in bounds, you're in bounds. The fuck do you need 2 feet for? The other one is the clock stopping on a first down. I love that in college football, where even if you're out of timeouts, you still legitimately have a chance to go down the field.
Yeah, I like that
do
too.
like that.
I like both things you just mentioned.
Do
because
you?
the 2 feet in it doesn't make sense.
It
if you really
doesn't,
think
does
about
it?
It's just this added requirement and added scrutiny.
Yeah.
And
For
yeah,
what?
dude? Right. It's just harder to do.
I guess, sure. I wish college football would lose those fucking dumb hash marks. The way the
Yes.
kickers have to kick on such an angle.
Yes.
That's retarded.
Wide as hell.
Yes.
Hey, Hamlin Pubs, they're inviting you to their 5 Metro Detroit locations. Come enjoy Hamlin Pub's great food, drinks, and atmosphere, whether you're watching the game with your buddies, out for a meal with the family, or out for an evening with your girl. It's always a great time at their Rochester, Clarkston, Chesterfield, and 2 Shelby Township locations.
You see, the teachers and students were back to school today. 2 weeks off from the
Parkland.
Yeah, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
Yeah.
First day back.
Now, where all the shootings occurred was in a completely separate building, and
Yeah.
that building has been closed down and will probably be razed. Is that the
Yes, they're
deal?
talking about demolishing it and doing some sort of memorial
Yeah,
to them, which fine. That makes sense. You don't want to open that thing up.
right.
So
they did with Sandy Hook. They demolished it.
That's right. Yeah. They had a long line of cars. You can imagine what a media circus it is there. I mean, it's kind of sad that we need, 1,000 media trucks to cover kids walking into school, as if they're on display.
Joke, dude.
It's pathetic. You know, they had their Welcome Eagles banner and, you know, flowers and all that stuff and cops everywhere. So some were even coming back with their gun wounds, their severe bullet wounds. After 2 weeks, you know, they're
Showing resiliency.
Yeah. So they opened the doors at 7:40 for a half day. Dude, was there anything better than that? Outside of the field trip day?
Anything more ridiculous than half days? Honestly, like I see my kids go through these. It's like, what'd you do? Well, we watched a movie.
What did they always say was the point? Like the second
Card
half of the,
marking or some
yeah,
bullshit.
teachers doing
Yeah.
whatever. I didn't care. You only care because you're a parent now.
Oh, dude, I loved half
Dude,
days.
half days were awesome.
Absolutely.
They just were awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like what they did, though.
Ended up playing hoops the rest of the day at your buddy's
Hell
house. Or
yeah.
something.
You were never sick on half day day.
No. Oh, God.
Even if you had 104 fever, you were not sick on half day day. So, yeah, they what they did was they put these kids their half day started in fourth hour. So where they were, so that these kids could be back together for the first time.
Oh, wow.
In the
That's
same
interesting.
groups that they were when they last left class in a rather big hurry. Yeah, I know. Is that kind of weird?
Yeah, maybe that. I don't know. I'm sure they had psychologists look at this and
Yeah.
figure it out, but maybe
Yeah.
that seems a little backward to me. Maybe I don't know. Counterintuitive.
Yeah, well, some people felt like, you know what, better to re-yank the Band-Aid, get you know, this is one of those things where it's like, I remember the last time we were in this classroom with these people.
Right.
You know, and so just let's do that. So, yeah, the heavily armed police presence designed to make the community feel secure is also disturbing some students. You know, it's like, dude, you can't have it both ways.
Right.
The guy there with the machine gun is not there to shoot you. He's going to make sure no one shoots you.
Yeah.
So,
You are in the safest building on the planet right now,
yes,
sir.
more so probably than the White House with the media coverage and the police presence. But we got this quote from one of the students. I know one of those bullets could be shredding through me if I was misidentified as a school shooter.
But what were you protesting against then when you said you wanted the safety? This is safety.
No, they want all the guns gone.
Oh, yeah, forgot.
This is the student further said.
All 330 million guns gone.
The student said, "This is a picture of education in fear in this country. Of education in fear in this country. The NRA wants more people just like this, with that exact firearm to scare more people and sell more guns." Said, which student would have said that, Jay?
Hogg.
Hogg. Of course it's David Hogg. He was
I'm
probably
getting
running.
sick of that kid,
dude.
man. I gave them all a break. Like, you know, they're emotional,
Yeah.
this and that. I'm getting sick of that kid.
Yeah,
That no-lipid kid.
how long do you think last night David Hogg was running his lines in the mirror, you know, to get that right? So when the cameras were right in his face first thing in the morning, he was ready for his camera moment, you know?
He knows it's all about a snip, right?
Yeah.
He's media savvy now.
Got to mention the NRA. I've got to mention that the cops are carrying the same type of guns that were used, you know, and one of those bullets could be shredding my body right now.
Bam. Digestible.
Yes.
It's easily tweetable.
Yes. And, dude, you're right. Quote, David Hogg. Ugh. I'm sorry. I feel bad for the kid, but I hate
Yeah,
him.
I know. I'm
I
starting to
actually
hate him,
hate
too.
David Hogg at this point. This is a picture of education in our country today. Is it Hogg? Great. Let's all
Hogg's
hear
clear.
what
The problem, my problem with Hogg is it's pretty apparent he now has an agenda in terms of
Yes.
put aside the political agenda, but an agenda in terms of what he wants to do in the future.
Yeah.
This guy wants to be a leader at some fucking position,
Of
right? He wants
course.
this to vault him to something.
This is his George Stephanopoulos moment.
He's using it. Yes, he's
This is
using
his
it.
Stephanopoulos
It is,
moment.
clearly to vault himself into something.
Do you want to
whether that's-
explain the George
George
Stephanopoulos
George
moment?
Stephanopoulos was nobody. He was like a runner, not even
He was just a midget.
a clerk, whatever he was. He was a little short-legged runner at a law firm in D.C., and he happened to befriend this homeless guy who he'd see out on the stoop many a morning and give him coffee or whatever. Well, it turns out this homeless guy ends up like holding the Washington Monument hostage. He pulls up a van to this thing that's he claims wired with explosives. And the cops are like, "Anybody know this guy? Who is this guy?" And stuffing out, I do.
Like, where's that voice coming from? We can't see a human man.
You see a little guy jumping up and
Jumping
down.
and someone picked him up
Yeah.
and carried him over there.
This little guy said he knows him. And so little Stephanopoulos goes up there and, you know, not that he approached the van or whatever, but he helped negotiate this guy
Yeah.
standing down. And then he becomes this media darling because
Yeah.
he's able to articulate the whole story.
Exactly. And so Hogg, I
That's-
fear when he runs for Senate or
Right.
something in 20 years or 10 years, they're going to be showing clips of, you know, this was important to David Hogg back in the day.
That's right.
And the fact
Always been
is,
passionate about it.
think about what we would have been like at 15 years old if major national and international camera crews were running up to get our opinion
Dude,
on
I
shit.
would have been more concerned about getting in shout-outs to my boys.
What
up, Miguel?
Dude, you gotta get a HCP reference in there
Yeah.
somewhere, dude.
Yeah, but you got to lead them on. You got to be like, we're really torn up about this, you know? I mean, it's really affected us. What up, Miguel? Woo! Woo!
We so would have. We just wouldn't have had the capacity to be mature enough to just give them the soundbite they wanted. We would have to slip in some reference to the Hawks, go Hawks.
Some fucking bro reference.
Yeah, some bro reference, some, beer reference. But the fact is you can make a kid at that age feel really special and important.
Sure.
And now he's got to work on what exactly he's going to say to the media, knowing they're going to be there to cover him.
David, you're the voice of a generation. You know that phrase has been uttered.
Oh, he's probably been told that.
Yes.
You're speaking. David, the country's listening.
Yeah.
You are the voice of your generation.
David, you are the face and the voice of a movement.
Grief counselors are on campus to provide a lot of love, understanding, and help students ease back into their routines. Officers with therapy dogs also were standing outside, and I was like, no. Those are just dogs.
Those are German Shepherd attack dogs.
Those are dogs. You can pet them. What do you mean therapy dogs?
Those are
just,
canine units.
It's not a therapy dog. It's just a dog. Eye poops.
Yeah, go up to
eye
that
poops.
dog and try to give it a kiss. See what happens.
It's trained just enough that it's not going to bite you. You can go up and pet it. Stop calling it a therapy dog like it's been to training.
Dude,
Good
speaking
Lord.
of school shooting and security around campuses, Anthony writes in, insert catchy names for the three of you. It must be nice living in euphoria. I went to school in Detroit. You can't enter the building without going through TSA-type security, no matter what time of day it was. My middle school had a mini police station inside of it, manned by 3 or 4 Detroit cops. Every day when I let out of school, there was a cop car in the vicinity ready to take action. No
Yeah.
school shootings that I can remember in any time at any Detroit public school when I was a student. It must be nice to be able to live so worry-free. Get some fucking metal detectors. I'm sorry your child has to wait 10 extra minutes to get in the building. Boo fucking who. Every visitor needs to be personally escorted by whoever they are there for. No exceptions. I don't care if you're the son of Christ or the son of the principal. You need an escort. Interior doors should be emergency-only doors with alarms that sound when open. We may not be able to stop the manufacturing of guns, but we can put procedures in place to help stop someone from entering a school with one. Just a thought.
Yeah, alarms on doors, whatever. It's like a car alarm. It's like your first thought is, would someone shut that off? Not like, oh, someone must be in trouble. Oh my God,
Yeah.
someone must be in trouble. Let's go. It's like, fucking A, man. It's been going for 30 seconds. Shut it off.
It would engage people the first, second, third time.
Yeah.
And then it'd be like, yeah, you're exactly right. God, stop the fucking alarm. Come on.
Yeah, because that's all we do, right? No one ever. Have you ever gone, I wonder if someone needs my help?
No.
I wonder. Never. You haven't. Another girl, Casey Sherman, Jr., thinks the schedule was a good idea, starting in fourth period so they could get over it.
Okay.
Blah, blah, blah. She was up till, by the way, up till 11:30 last night. I mean, she was just up late working on the preparations for the March 14th National School Workout or
Shit.
walkout against gun violence.
My boys were up till 1 last night playing first-person shooter games.
Well, they're still going to walk out, right?
Yeah, probably.
Dude, are you kidding me? Dad, it's fucking National Walkout Day against gun violence. What are you, for gun violence?
No, they said actually there was a day last week where kids walked out, and my boys were like, no, I just stayed in class.
Really?
A lot of people did, yeah.
Wow.
Wasn't very well organized or communicated, I guess.
By the way, just out of curiosity, when we say we're working on preparations for the March 14th walkout, we're up late working on those. Like, what are we? I mean, is that we're
Maybe
just
a
like,
chant. Maybe they've got a good chant going, you know.
hey, ho,
Ho,
ho.
ho. All these
Gun
guns have
violence
got to go.
yeah.
Hey, ho, ho.
But if she's up late now, a month and a half in advance, working on this, it better not be your everyday roses are red, violets are blue, hey, ho, ho shit.
Right. Want something better than that.
Yeah, I mean, come on. We better step up our game
I
here.
don't want markers on poster board.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless she's just all night, just like hashtag never again.
There you go.
We're getting that
She's getting
ready.
the social media assets ready.
Possibly. And they got a lot of work to do. And then the victims' relatives kept up the pressure. They've had some meetings at their local, whatever's testimony during a legislative hearing on a bill locally. And a lot of parents are showing up, and kids, of course. David Hogg.
They're all engaged.
Yeah, they are. It's time. And so they're worried about they're debating whether or not to allow teachers to carry concealed weapons in their classrooms, and if the district allows it, these guys would get deputized, get training, 6 months of training. And the Broward superintendent has spoken out firmly against the idea of arming teachers. By the way, Hogg also thinks that the idea is a bit misguided.
Okay.
So I'm glad that we've gotten
Hogg's
input
on record.
from the 15-year-old that it's misguided. He's thought this through.
The kid has no lips. How can we trust him?
I know. He's got a very, very punchable face too. Do you notice? Have you noticed that? Just,
Very.
I don't like the hair. I just want to punch his face.
At this point, I do. I was giving him a break before. Like, dude, I can't,
Yeah.
can't criticize these kids. They're emotional. But now it's clearly agenda-driven.
Yeah, I wanted to punch Emma at one point.
Yeah.
And then I saw people that
Trying to resist that.
I
She's a girl.
I know. But people that I
young
respected,
woman.
you know how your Twitter will pop up and be like, oh, so-and-so started following you or blah, blah, blah. And it was like, ding, ding. 2 people that I know started following Emma Gonzalez. And I was like, you don't want to know who one of them was.
Well, it's probably, though, to troll them, right?
No. That would have been fine. If it was like Joel or something.
Oh, I know who it is.
Who?
I'm going to guess Massey.
Very good. I was like, oh, Mike Massey, you're not following Emma Gonzalez. Lastly, on this subject of the school opening back up, it's true that you could absolutely fuck off the remainder of the year and just get all A's, right?
Yeah,
You
right?
can lean on this.
Man, I'm still, wow. Ooh,
just-
the whole shooting.
Every time I open my book to
I
study
know.
at home, which I'm dying to
I
do,
hear shots.
it's all I see. It's just red and bullets and, oh, God, I just, the stress. And
Yeah,
now
there-
I'm feeling about, I'm going to feel. Because colleges have done that, remember?
Dude, there's a rumor that ran rampant, and maybe it still goes around, that if your roommate dies, you get straight A's the rest of the year.
Dude, it's worth killing a roommate for.
No.
Or at least if you've got a suicidal
It's been
friend.
discussed.
Yeah. Yes.
But why, no, that's not the case. There's no frickin' way that's the case.
I guarantee you, though, there will be kids, though, that just fuck off and go, just
Yeah.
the stress of the
Yeah.
of the topic. Because we saw it. Remember all the colleges that canceled midterms or just gave kids A's when Trump won the election?
Yeah. Oh, no,
And it was like they were so overwhelmed by this.
I'm not
At
doubting-
law schools.
Yeah, they were deferring tests and so forth. Yeah, it's different time now. But back when I was going to college, that was absolutely a bullshit rumor. There's no way I could have just killed my roommate.
Yeah.
There's no way. I don't think.
Plus,
No.
you have to get away with a murder. Suicide would be obviously ideal.
Yeah,
but
you'd be better off encouraging him to do it himself.
just really
lead him
hammering him
into
home
it.
every day,
Depression.
bowling him, telling him he's worthless.
if he has a bad day,
Go ahead and do it.
do
it.
You don't have the balls. You don't have the balls. Just keep every time he says something negative about himself, just reinforce it.
Yeah. Yep.
No, we've all noticed that. We've talked about it a lot down the hallway. In fact,
Fuck, dude. I don't think I can pass this test. No, I doubt you
nah,
can.
I don't think
Doubt-
so either.
Doubt you can.
Neither did our line mates down the hall here. They just,
Yeah,
God, we've been
talking about it the other day. How
lots of discussion
much you
about it.
suck.
Oh man,
Would've been one round.
Broke up with my girlfriend over the weekend.
Ooh, have you thought about killing yourself?
Not surprised. You
Yeah.
kind of suck.
Dude, me and the guys down the hall have been talking about that for weeks. Like, how what did that girl see?
And you knew we were all banging your girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like most of us, anyways. Anyway, could really use some A's, man.
Dude, you mentioned the shit media a second ago. I had an experience you guys will get a kick out of. I was at your Franklin, what's your little coffee shop up here?
Oh yeah.
The farmhouse.
Yes.
Farmhouse. Yeah.
So I'm up there yesterday
the farmhouse
because
yeah.
I left the studio to go study. I was reading and prepping for the interview today.
Yeah.
And I had a couple hours to kill before I went downtown to Detroit Barbers. And I'm sitting there, and while I'm there for 2 hours, the local media, dude, two film crews come in to film the manager talking about their pothole special. Okay? what they've done is they've named a fucking flavor
Fuck
of their
you.
stupid chocolate ice
Name
cream
them.
pothole.
Who?
Now,
What outlets were there?
Channel
Who?
2 and 7. You knew Channel
Fuck
2
you,
would
Channel
be, right?
2.
Oh, that's all-
Fuck you, Channel 7. Yes, of course. If you said guess, I would have said 2 and 7.
Yeah. So
Oh,
here's the
you
deal.
fucking
If-
losers.
everybody should know this. All you listeners, listen up. If you had a flat tire and you had to get it repaired, go ahead and take your receipt in.
Is there a discount?
They'll give you a free scoop.
Get outta
Because you know what,
here.
Mike? It's great to put smiles on people's faces. We know the
Wow.
potholes are bad out there. We just want
Sure
to.
are.
We just want to put a couple smiles on people's faces.
I fear people could cheat the system and just get a flat tire and then say it was a pothole.
Listen,
and go get a
manager.
free scoop.
Listen,
Wow.
manager of your stupid farmhouse place. You wanted cheap publicity, and you knew you could whore out to these stupid local outlets, and they would come running.
Dude, how sad is that? It's like, you're calling a tip line. You're calling a news tip line like, I got a story. What is it? All right. You know there's potholes everywhere? I do. Well, we're running a thing where if you get a flat tire, we've got a pothole special. We'll give you a free scoop of ice cream.
I'll get a reporter down there, staff!
They're on their way. Don't move. How late are you open?
Dude, she said the Freep picked it up, Detroit News picked it up.
Wow.
I mean, this is what
Hard
we're
hitting.
doing, right?
Hard hitting.
Channel 7's website has it here. Oh,
It was just- while I was sitting there, dude, I'm trying to.
why do
read-
you do this to me, dude? You know this infuriates me so much. You know I can't take much more of this. Why do you do this?
We're running a pothole special.
Is this really? I'm gonna
The
ask
whole
you.
time I'm there a good 2+ hours. Film crews. Filming.
did you
asked
catch her
me
at a-
for an interview? I'm like,
You
no, I'm
should've
good,
done
man.
it! No!
Dude, no,
No! That-
I was so
Oh,
infuriated.
I so would have done it.
Yeah, you
I
should have
know
jumped
you
on
would have.
camera.
I know
Yeah.
you would have, and I thought about it. I thought, should I do this just for the good of the show? But then I'm like, no, this is so fucking douchey. I'm gonna make that guy make the rounds and find someone because no one would
You
do
could
it.
have so just been like, oh my, this is just,
Dude,
wow,
you
this is
should've.
just a great
Nope.
deal.
And
Oh.
you should have said your name was Stan Berta. You should have,
No, he should have said his name was Jay Detroit Cast.
Dude, I am not appearing on some stupid local news thing to help them pump their stupid story.
Yeah, but if you just sad sacked it, we're like, I mean, it was terrifying.
All 4 tires.
I mean, I lost a tire
This
once.
thing just gobbled me up.
It was like a family member. I mean, it gobbled me up. Is this really the best thing going on in Franklin nowadays? Is it?
You know what?
Is it? Is this the best thing going on in Franklin? Really? Nothing else that's going on in Franklin that's worth reporting on. A fucking free ice cream scoop.
Yeah.
Sure couldn't get either of those stations to come out and capture someone raising over $30,000 in charity.
And that's something.
60 for the year.
60 for the year.
$60,000. Nah, guy's gonna give away 3 ice cream cones in total because no one around here gives a fuck about a free scoop of ice cream.
Well, they needed a segue out of the water skiing squirrel story.
What?
Do you know the water segue? Sorry.
Yes.
Do you know the water skiing squirrel was actually in Detroit last week? And
Oh,
it was
dude.
covered by every fucking station. And
You know
news
how I
outlet?
know? Because everybody that listens to our show tweeted the story at me and emailed the story.
Hey,
at
look,
me.
the water skiing
It
squirrel.
was literally Twiggy the water skiing squirrel.
Dude, I was so infuriated yesterday. I couldn't.
What was it?
even
Did you hear any of like the
consider-
discussion? Like what some of the discussion filming, like where they said, okay, we'll get a nice shot here, all this bullshit.
Oh,
I
they
mean,
were doing the whole thing like, oh, let me get the logo on the mantle. Let me go outside to the people on the deck and all this shit. Like,
We had
get the
Darren
fuck outta
McCarty
here.
in studio for an hour and 40 minutes talking about Dominic Hasek's giant dick on the show. And no, apparently we should have just given free scoops ice cream to anybody that got a pothole. Hit
Yeah,
a pothole.
dude, if we do that, I'll pay for fucking free scoops of ice cream if they come in here.
Got to name it Pothole. You got to
Yeah.
have a catchy name like Pothole Chocolate.
They're too
How do they
smart.
justify?
Oh, it's,
I knew you'd appreciate that, man.
yeah, that's great. That's great. Just great.
Oh, Ezus, I had one other thing noted to ask you. Do you have your whale tail? I mean, you got the purple thong going on today, or when you doing that?
I don't know yet.
You better walk in here with a whale tail.
I'm gonna wear a long jersey, basketball jersey, and you'll just be like,
You can wear the long jersey into the house, but on the show,
No, I
people
don't.
need to see your
No, they
your,
don't.
your whale tail.
they
No, I don't. No, I don't.
I
No,
can
they
just
don't.
be wearing it.
Jimmy Kimmel is hosting the Oscars again this year.
Yeah, speaking of kind of getting
Great.
tired of somebody.
Dude, this bums me out because I really, really, really liked Jimmy Kimmel and I liked his career. I liked the choices he made and was lucky enough to meet
I mean,
him
the
when he did the
Crank
Shut Up
Yankers.
when he came here to
Gem
Detroit to
Theater.
do the Super Bowl, and he couldn't have been cooler. His team couldn't have been cooler. His band couldn't have been cooler and more friendly and open and hanging out with everybody. It was like, dude, these guys are just normal guys. And to see what Jimmy Kimmel has turned into
Well,
of the
unfortunately,
last couple of years,
it's a
fuck.
symptom of the divisiveness we see in our country, right? It's gobbling people up like that. It's taken Jimmy Kimmel from us.
It's unreal. Listen to this, dude. So he's doing the Oscars on Sunday night, and he confirmed there will be 0 jokes about the hashtag #MeToo stuff at this year's show. He explained that the evening was about making the night memorable for all the people who've been dreaming about winning an Oscar their whole lives.
So no Trump jokes, right?
show is not about
Sure.
reliving people's sexual assaults. The last thing I want to do is ruin that for someone who is, nominated for, I don't know, best leading actress or supporting or director or whatever by making it unpleasant. I'm not going to stop any bad behavior. I'm not going to stop any bad behavior with my jokes. So the fact that no one's going to get fingered because of his jokes.
Well,
But then he said he did admit, however.
But are you? I mean, I'm fine with that. I don't think joking about Me Too and shit is that's the forum to do any sort of thing like that.
Well,
But the problem is he's not taking Trump jokes off the table, is he?
he was quick to point out, however, that he's not pulling any punches when it comes to politics. A lot of people are going with this line of reasoning where they say people in show business shouldn't speak out about politics. Yeah, basically, because most of you guys are barely high school graduates, and I don't need to hear your deep thinking on whatever issue of the day politically is.
Or
Don't need it.
self-educated like Jennifer Lawrence.
Right, who's saving democracy now, so we don't have to see her for another year. And yet they elected Donald Trump the president of the United States, so I think the argument is pretty well jumped out the window. Nice. No, the reason it pisses me off is because you don't like this, so you slam it. You feel nothing wrong with that. Now you're a room full of buddies, half of which are all being dragged into this Me Too movement. You don't have the balls to bust on your friends who are in some pretty serious shit with accusations for Me Too. Might be a nice place to call some of that shit out, make a statement. But no, we're going to ignore that. We're going to ignore the Me Too movement completely. Now, I'm not saying you go up there and go, make some lame jokes about hashtag Me Too and make light of the situation, but I think it's even worse to completely avoid it and then go, oh, yeah, but I can attack Donald Trump all day long.
will he be having girls jumping on trampolines? Is that allowed?
I know.
I
Isn't
mean,
that funny when you think back
I'm
to,
just-
to like
that-
the man
How
show and stuff?
boorish he was.
Oh,
that is the reason. I know. I'm sure he did stuff before that, I guess. But that's the reason people know who he is. And crank yankers.
dude, Jimmy Kimmel was your everyday bro, privileged fucking sexist pig forever. That's what he was forever.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. We're all still here, Jim. Anytime you want to join the party, we're still here. We haven't gone anywhere. We still find bitches jumping on trampolines in slow motion. Awesome, like you did, a couple years ago. No, he's been forgiven from all that because he's on the right side. He's on the right team.
High-minded.
Think about how many people get brought down to Chinatown, Jay, when they pull up, they unearth some old audio of some bullshit thing you said.
Oh, dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could definitely pull shit
Go
on
through
him.
his whole show.
Wow.
You could have, a field day. But he's on the right team, so there's no interest in doing that. Do you remember, speaking of the Oscars, remember Gary from Chicago last year? They had the Samsung promotion.
Yes, dude.
The
They were
bus
taking a
pull
tour,
up.
a star tour,
Yeah.
and they're like, you two, come on, join
Well,
me on
they
stage.
had the whole bus.
Oh, was it?
And they let him out, and they just open this door, and they walk into the theater, and it's just totally surprised them.
Yeah.
And there they are taking selfies with Jennifer Lawrence. I saw her butthole once.
And I liked it.
I liked it. With Denzel Washington. So yeah, there's him.
There's that son of a bitch, Gary. He's got the big name tag on.
And Gary didn't give a fuck about the celebrities in the room. He was fixated on his phone. Because if you remember, he'd been in prison the last 20 years until 3 days ago. So he's seeing a smartphone for the first time and flipping his shit.
Wow. Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do now. Yeah.
He was one of the guys that was nabbed after that 3 strikes rule they had in California. They
okay.
They don't still have the 3 strikes, do they?
I don't know. I think they do. But so it was something real light, like maybe selling acid to kids, and they,
raping
they
a
weighed
girl.
they weighed the paper. Oh, it was rape.
Yeah, one of his. I don't know what the others 2 were.
Oh,
It might have been pushing someone down or something. I don't know.
But he was all the rage the day after the Oscars, right? Until
Yeah, and so he says his life's been turned upside down since that day. Gary Allen Coe is his actual name, not just Gary from Chicago. And so yeah, he says he was meeting all these celebrities. The next day though, and it's crazy. This is what your media does. Your media goes, oh, okay, let's see what that guy's all about. And they're just like, they unearth his criminal background and everything else. He's like, it was horrible. I didn't ask to be put on the Oscars. I was minding my own business, walking down the street. He's kind of got a point. So he'd been released 3 days earlier from serving 20 years in prison and 3 strikes
Damn,
law.
dude.
Yeah,
That's surreal.
he's he was on the trip, if you remember, with his fiance. He was on fiance at the time, and he was supposed to get married right after that, but they broke up in like a week after that. Yeah, that she
I thought
says-
Denzel was going to marry them, actually.
That's right, E. It was, but that wasn't official.
Oh, shit.
That wasn't official. So they ended up breaking up like a week later, in part because of the Oscars and how that turned their world upside down. And her twin brother died, and so there was some trouble there.
Turbulent time.
Yeah. He says he's don't feel bad for him. He's currently engaged to a new woman.
Oh, good.
So in the last 12
A
months,
hotter one, a better one.
he's lost and found love all over again.
Got a tighter regime on this one.
Dude, I don't know why that seems weird to me, but like break up with someone and then be engaged 12
I
months
know,
later, it's
totally.
just like,
Yeah.
huh.
Possible there's a rebound situation there? Maybe.
And then he made this interesting quote about, he says, yeah, they wanted to make my Oscar moment something ugly. And how about the way it's come down? Look what happened to Harvey Weinstein. Come to find out that the people up in really high places are the ones we should have been watching, not some poor little black guy that's been locked away in prison for the last 20 years. I'm like, well,
He's discounting his daughter's rape, his rape of his daughter. Is that what he's doing?
well, I was like,
He's going, well, I only did it once and to only one of my daughters.
I don't think he raped his daughter. It was
Oh,
it was an
I'm
alleged
sorry. I didn't mean to disparage the man.
it was an alleged attempted rape.
Ah,
So I don't know.
so he didn't get that nut off?
I don't think he got that last nut off. But I was just thinking like, well, no, Gary, we can do both. I mean, just because Harbinger Weinstein is raping bitches doesn't mean we don't need to keep an eye on you and stop you from allegedly raping bitches.
Monsters are monsters.
Yeah. It's like, what do you want, a free pass? Because that doesn't make
It's like he was like released from jail and he didn't even know he was going to be on the Oscars.
It's bizarre. Hey, was last year Fat Damon too? Or the guy who looked like Matt Damon, but he was from the accountant firm and he was supposed to be in charge
Yeah.
of the cards, right?
I think it was. It might have been 2 years ago, but I did see that
He
picture
was
image.
too busy selfieing with people that were receiving Oscars, and
Yeah.
he got the cards mixed up, and so he got nixed, right? The whole firm, I think, did. They got moved out.
Was that Price Waterhouse?
I think so.
Yeah. God, I hope not. Price, they've been there a long time.
They're good people.
They certainly are. Except for
The
Fat
Prices,
Damon.
the Waterhouses, the Coopers.
Sure. Yep. I don't know. We'll have to see. I'm sure they'll advertise it and have those guys walk out in suits again in briefcases. So we'll see if it's a new firm. Hey, by the way, we got to call Michelle Assad here in just a moment. See tickets for the Russian 5 documentary?
Yeah.
Going fast.
Yeah, well, DMAC is going to take us, right?
That's what he said. We'll have to find out. Have to find out. Sort of hard off the glass.
What'd you say, Mike?
What's that? Nothing.
Yeah, that's right. I'm hard off the glass all day long. DMAC.
Dude.
Dude, we were talking about people you can count on.
Yeah.
And
This is off the air.
DMAC goes,
What did he say about me?
you know, Michael gets stuck in his own zone with the puck, you know, behind his own blue line.
Yeah.
From time to time. But Jay, he's hard off the glass
All day long.
And bam.
And we're all just like, yeah, uh-huh. And then Jake goes, hold on. Hold on. Did Darren McCarty just call me hard off the glass all day long? And then the rumor erupted. It was like, oh.
Yes.
So what would that make E
I'm
with
hog, dude. I'm hard off the glass.
all day long? Closer to David Hogg than that Hogg. What would that make E? Like a broken stick on the ice?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
An attempted clearance breaks the stick or puts it in his own net.
Oh,
Paul
the-
Coffey into his own net.
Yeah, there you go. There
Dude,
you go.
I'm hard off the glass all,
All
day,
day
long,
long.
according to DMAC.
Yeah. That's
He's
not
a great judge of character.
Oh, and
Boom.
he would know.
Proof positive.
Who would know hard off the glass all day long better than a 4-time Stanley Cup champion?
Yeah.
4 rings, bitches. God. I know, I'm seeing Mac's picture here. They're promoting him in the
Yeah.
interview thing for this movie, the Freak Film Festival,
Yeah, I
April
want to
11th
see
screening.
it. Genuinely interested in that story.
Yes, the Russian 5, April 11th screening at the Fillmore in Detroit. And tickets are going fast. $20 for general admission. They do have a $50 VIP one, which gets you admission to a pre-film party, drinks and food, including Mexican food, soul and Greek and Coney stations.
Yeah, I knew that, Mike. You know why?
Why?
Because I'm hard off the glass all day
All
long.
day long.
According to DMAC.
Did you know that the opening night festivities will be hosted by Mitch Albom
Yeah, I did.
for including a post-film Q&A?
Yep.
Why did you know that?
Because
Can
I'm
I ask
hard
him
off
about
the
his
glass
hair?
all day long.
Yeah,
In the post Q&A, can I say, what's up with your hair?
you can.
Yeah, why are you trying to cover your ears?
Yeah, what are you doing?
You got points
How is
on
your
those
hair
ears?
not jet black still? How's it possible?
It's jet black, sir. You're
just-
58 years old.
It just
Older, right? 60s? I don't know.
Probably. It just screams it's like pointing arrows, flashing arrows to your ears, going, "I am so self-conscious of this that this is how I've decided to resolve it."
He thinks he's changing the subject, but he's not.
We
pointing
know
right to it.
We know what's going on. It's like, that's too weird of a hairstyle. It's not like, it's just too weird, and I know what it's doing.
When's your next pamphlet coming out?
Pamphlet,
Dude, I feel his books, dude, are.
Oh,
I refer to them as pamphlets,
Yeah,
dude. They're
small
like
tomes.
150 pages, big ass lettering. You can read Tuesdays with Morty in an hour
Is that
if
right?
you want. I don't,
Yeah.
maybe not an hour, but
And he makes $2 billion off them, which is great.
is it-
All right, you ready to call Michelle Assad?
I would love to, Mike.
Breaking Cover is the book. Chick in the CIA. God, that's sexy, isn't it?
A woman in the
Oh,
CIA. Mike,
woman,
come on,
yeah.
chick.
Beautiful. Yeah, she's a chick. All girls like being called chicks.
Yeah, they love it.
What's up, chick? Anyway, yeah, it's a fascinating book, and look into the CIA and how it works, and we got a lot of questions for her. So, E, if you're ready, let's dial up Michelle.
This is Michelle.
Michelle Assad.
Yes, sir.
Hey, it's Mike and Jay from the Detroit Cast. How are you?
Hey, Michelle.
I'm doing great. How are you?
We're doing good. We just got done with your book, Breaking Cover, My Secret Life in the CIA, and what it taught me about what's worth fighting for. Great book.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate you reading it.
Of course. Is it doing well?
It is, yes. Very exciting to get the response that I've had.
Yeah, it seems like a good time to release a book like this. I mean, it's kind of everywhere in the world right now, you know, with wars going on and the need for interrogation of terrorists. It's a good time to release a book like
Immigration issues and so
this.
forth.
Sure.
Right. Oh, yeah. It's so timely. That's the thing you can't plan.
Well, I think, you know, just as people, we have this, like Jay wants one of his kids. He wants to start training him now with video games, and he wants him to be some, like, Jason Bourne in training, you know, as a youngster. And I think we all have that feeling like, oh man, to be in that world, you've got to just be a special human being and
James Bond.
Yeah, train your whole life to learn everything and you know,
Right.
but then reading your book, it's like, I just threw my name in the hat and just figured, what the hell, why not? And
Serendipity.
and they kind of picked you. It wasn't something you dreamed about your whole life. You just, you know, throwing in, you know, you saw a speaker or something and just threw your resume in there. And so what is it that you think they saw in you that went, okay, we got to call this girl back?
It was a focus on the Arab world and the fact that I had been at Georgetown. I had a master's degree in Arab studies. And I think because I had traveled a great deal in the Arab world already, so I'd been on the streets of Cairo, I had showed that I had a passion for that part of the world. I think that's what grabbed their attention.
But both you and your husband, and that's what's interesting about this book too, and your story, is the fact that your husband was also a CIA operative in the Middle East. Both of you guys got into the game before 9/11. Is that right?
Exactly.
What
Which is
was
so
it?
fascinating.
Yeah. What was it that
Sorry.
compelled you around that time to pursue it?
So my interest started right after a mission trip when I graduated high school. And so my husband and I, who weren't married at that time, traveled to Egypt and volunteered. It's his home country, and he put that group together. And we volunteered at an orphanage for a month. And it was my first exposure to the Middle East. And I found it so fascinating because it wasn't anything like anything I knew. This culture was so different. And so I kind of became my passion to like understand the Arab world. So I kept just getting abroad. I kept studying abroad, doing mission trips, just trying to travel as much as possible. And of course, that eventually took me to Georgetown and trying to get my master's degree in Arab studies. And of course, as you know, that's where the CIA recruits out of Georgetown. And that's where I threw my resume into the bin.
And they select you as a potential candidate, and you're ultimately put into the training process and so forth. What was the interview and vetting processes that you had to go through, and then the training process? Describe that for us.
It is brutal. It's so brutal. There's nothing easy about being vetted by the U.S. government
Yeah.
because of course, you have to make sure not only are you not getting somebody who could be a double agent, but you want to make sure you're getting people with the right personality to do this job, because it's not a job, it's a whole lifestyle. It's your entire life. And so they got to make sure that you're the kind of person who can work well under large amounts of stress and pressure. And so that all starts with the vetting process. Ugh. So you have really long interviews where you're spending hours with a recruiter. And then you have psych interviews and psych tests, examinations, and the polygraph, which is horrible, but an integral part of that process. Yeah.
I've heard that the polygraph, like, you don't understand until you're sitting down and they wire you up and they put a clip on your finger.
And it's like, just act natural.
Just act natural. And people that have gone through that, they're like, dude, you have no idea how brutal and scary it is.
It is. Yes, and for a lot of us who, oh my goodness, that have so like religious backgrounds, and you're taught, if you even considered a sin in your heart, it's like you've sinned. And so, you just think you have this movie reel of material of your whole life, everything you've ever done or considered doing wrong, and it's making the polygraph like blow up.
It almost reminds me of the E-meter or whatever that Scientologists put people through. Like, they want to know everything you've ever done, and so that they have it. Is it going through your mind like, oh, God, do I have to tell them about that one really embarrassing thing that happened when I was this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
of course. Absolutely.
That sounds terrible.
Hey, Michelle, you talk throughout your book about specific challenges that you encountered because of your gender, and that started even during the CIA training processes and was glaringly obvious once you were operating in the Middle East and debriefing insurgents. Can you give us a few examples of maybe some of the hurdles that you had to overcome, or even dangers that you were subjected to just because you were female?
Sure. So the first shock that I had was in training when my male colleague and I had our the individual whose job it was to really mentor us in the beginning of the training process. And he was a legend at the CIA. He had an amazing career, but he was an older man. He was probably in his 80s at that point. And he couldn't even look at me during training. He would just look at my male colleague in the room like the entire time. So it was really awkward. And
what do you think that is? Do you think that's that these old hardened veteran guys are like, damn PC culture, now I'm stuck with a woman?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Exactly.
Yeah, she's not tough.
It totally was that. Yes. Mm-hmm. She's smiley. Look at her. She couldn't do espionage. Like, she's nice. She's friendly. This is not the material we should be looking for.
Right. Do you think in the end, when all was said and done, when you look back at your whole career, do you think being a woman was beneficial to you, or do you think it really hindered your career?
It was beneficial only because I found a way to make it work for me. And I had to create a strategy for myself that allowed me to approach operations with my unique personality and skill set. And so it was like, the whole world is working against you. The culture is working against you. In the CIA, with the terrorists in the debriefing room. But the fact that I could figure out, using my emotional intelligence, how to turn my disadvantage into an advantage, I can now say that was my greatest asset. But it took a lot of work to figure out how to stand out at the CIA, being so different.
We'll talk about some of the dangers that posed. So just being a woman operating in the Middle East.
So one of my scariest moments was when I was driving to work during my first tour.
It's brutal.
You clearly read that part.
I did. We all did, yeah.
And so I was driving. I was not with my husband. He was traveling. And I was in an ambush situation. And I realized that, there was a car behind me. There was a man in front of me. And I was so vulnerable as a female driving my own car. And at that time, Westerners were targets of opportunity. So if somebody ran into you and saw you, they'd kidnap you and sell you to Al-Qaeda. And so my husband and I had always told each other, like, you cannot get taken. And so that day, I realized that it was either me or the guy in front of my car who was blocking me. And I ended up having to hit him with my vehicle twice in order to get him to move so I could remove myself from a situation that could have gone south very quickly.
Well, to set the scene for people listening, this is a woman driving to work, stopped at a red light, and a couple guys are just crossing the street, and they look and they notice it's a female. and then they stop and turn into animals, which is, but go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, no, this passage really hit me where you say, as the man's eyes honed in on me, they flashed the look that I know well after living in some of the most conservative cultures in the world. It was the look of a hungry dog that had just seen his first meal in days. It was a look of perversion, depravity, and darkness that was so revolting it made my skin crawl. You would have thought I was completely unclothed in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
and then the zombies start coming, right?
yeah.
Just walking toward your car, and you sense like I have got to get off the X, as you say in the book. Like I've got to get out of this spot where I'm susceptible to ambush.
Yeah, because the men were just coming from every direction. I could see them through all of my mirrors, and I knew that once that car was surrounded by hundreds of men, that's it. Like I'm done. And I knew in that moment, like I had to just act quickly in order to not be a victim. And that would have never happened had I been, completely covered with only my eyes showing.
Right, right.
In that part of the world, the women were, you couldn't even see most of their eyes. They were that much covered. So for him, the fact that I had a bare face was just too much for him to handle.
I mean, he's making like a monkey would do in the wild, just like whatever. He's making those hand signals. I don't want to offend you, but yeah, then you're talking about how at one point I think around that same spot, like when there's a car accident, like men will flock to the car
just to get a glimpse of women
and have their noses smashed against the windshield and the windows just to see if there's a woman inside. Just to see some skin. Like, it's so foreign and so weird.
Yeah, you say, Michelle, you mentioned a moment ago how you were attracted to this culture and the difference in the culture. I mean, is that healthy? I mean, when you see something like that, what are your thoughts?
So for me, being a student of human behavior, I was like, why do they do that? I was trying to understand, like, why do people act in a certain way? This behavior is so foreign to me, so it's not as if I loved every part of that culture so much as I was just driven to try to understand it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you're more analytical than me. I just go, losers, get out of here. Get the spray bottle out.
Yeah, I know it is. You almost want to spritz them. Get out of here, you. Jay and I both have wanted this for a while, and it's kind of a tough question to ask, but do you think Islam fits with Western culture?
I think that Islam, that is, as it's practiced in Muslim-majority countries where Islam is the basis for everything in life, meaning your whole constitution is the Sharia law.
Right.
And the fact that Sharia law is very different than Western law. It says, if you're a Muslim, these are your rights. And if you're anything else, you're down here. So from the get-go, you have a system that works against anyone who's not in that particular religion. So when you understand that, you realize, no, Islam or Sharia law inherently is not democratic.
Yeah.
When you're categorized by your religion, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And then when you don't allow people the freedom to choose their religion, so if you become Muslim, you must always be Muslim. You cannot be agnostic, atheist, or anything else by threat of death. That's obviously also a problem.
Well, it's interesting, and I'm going to horribly paraphrase this, but I was reading recently this scholar in like 1880s, and he's given a lecture in Oxford, and he was talking about this religion fitting in around the world, and he said that it will never work because of when Muhammad died, he left no room for growth. For as societies grow, you adapt to them and you grow with them, and it kind of just ended there. And so to be a true living in Islam and Sharia, there's no room for that to grow. It is what it is. It stays there. So you can't really call yourself a part of that religion if you try to alter it. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes. I think that's pretty accurate. And so a lot of people will say, yeah, but my Muslim next door, they're the nicest person. And they are. They're fabulous.
Yeah.
But for those who don't want to practice Islam, they can never, they're really not allowed to announce formally or officially, like, I no longer believe this. It's just not permitted in Islam at its core.
A troubling lack of flexibility.
Yeah. And when you see it spreading throughout, Europe, and there's some horrible stories there, and I never know how much to believe, how much the media is spinning a story to sensationalize it. But boy, it doesn't. Some of the images and some of the scenes,
no-go areas in Belgium and Germany and so forth.
Awful. It sounds awful.
Right. You know, when I see that, when I see places or when I'm traveling in Europe and I'm in areas where suddenly I'm scared because I see guys who are acting as like Sharia advocates, telling women what they can and cannot wear in the street or trying to prevent you to going certain areas, that just makes my skin crawl because I've experienced that in the Middle East, and they're trying to bring that into Europe, and that's a problem.
Now, I want to rewind a little bit and talk about your CIA career still. You were in Iraq between 2006 and 2007, the bloodiest part of the war there. It was ironically there that you feared most going there, but it's where you realized that you could absolutely do the job as an operator and do it well. What were the breakthrough moments for you personally during that time in Iraq?
Yes, and my major breakthrough moment was when I was about to go into a debriefing with a really bad guy, and I needed to get a particular set of intelligence details out of him. And before I walked in that room, having studied the Arab world so much, I knew what my challenges were. I knew I was going to walk in the door. I knew he wouldn't respect me. I knew he wouldn't see me as somebody capable of being an intelligence officer. And so I thought, okay, yeah, I have this job to do, but I have this mountain I have to get over. And then I just told myself, I was like, oh my God, Michelle, you've been preparing for this your whole life. Like, this is your moment. You can do this. Mm-hmm. And when I walked in that door and I applied my knowledge of Arab culture to that interaction with that insurgent, and I was able to turn him around completely to a point where not only did he respect me, but now he really liked me and wanted to work hard to please me and provide the intelligence. I was like, holy cow, I did it. So not only am I, all those years I wondered if I was good enough to be in the CIA, I now realize that I was actually a really good intelligence officer, and it just transformed my career at that point.
Now, are you wearing a headscarf? Is this when you were interrogating Abu Muhammad, I think?
Yes,
Yeah.
So no, I wasn't wearing a headscarf, but I was very careful to dress conservatively and look professional and all of that.
Because that could go the other way, where he so loses respect for you for daring to not wear a headscarf.
Yeah, at the same time, it's kind of like, let's not play this game. I'm a Christian, so let's not pretend like I need to have my head covered. Mm-hmm. They all assume that we're all Christians, right or wrong. They just assume that. And so when you walk in there confident in who you are and what you stand for, they actually kind of respect that. They begrudgingly respect that, you know who you are and where you're coming from. And I thought the most important thing to communicate with him in the first few minutes of that meeting was that I was intelligent. And so I had to just speak about Iraq and terrorism and just show him that I was insightful and I was smart. And you could just see in his eyes, in his nonverbals, it's like, oh my gosh, this does not compute. This is not what I was expecting.
And so what do you, when you're in that moment, when you're face to face with a guy who is a virtual monster almost, some of these really hardened jihadist terrorist guys, what are you specifically looking for? What are the signs? Is it body language? Is it eyes? Is it fidgeting? All of that?
Body language is huge. Body language will tell you what their words are not. So it'll give you an indication whether you're having a breakthrough or you're on the right track or he's not buying it. And I also think that the most important thing in those meetings is to understand who you're dealing with. So, I have to know what motivates that guy. What gets him out of bed every day? How intelligent is he? Because if I don't speak to that, he's never going to listen to me. So at the core of it, you've got to understand somebody's motivation.
So you have to do a massive amount of intel before you ever get in that room.
Yes, absolutely. You got to go in there having a pretty good idea who he is, and then you've got to make sure, though, to keep it open enough in your mind to readjust based on your interactions with that human being.
So their motivation, when you're talking to insurgents, and you did a lot of that, debriefing insurgents and interviewing insurgents in Iraq, what really did you find to be their motivation? It couldn't have just been the money payout that you guys might provide to get information, because, if that's the case, then you'd have everybody walking off the street just telling you anything just to walk out with a bag of money. What was it that was more than money that was motivating them to cooperate with you guys?
So to begin with, the whole money thing is huge. And so you have a lot of people walking in to provide information, which is fabricated so they could get paid. So you had to become really efficient at figuring out whether they're lying or they're giving you good stuff. But in terms of their other motivations, totally fascinating. So some of them just thought the CIA was interesting and cool, and they had a big ego, and so they just wanted to like live this interesting life working with the CIA. Some of them wanted to take out their competition. So they're engaging with you to tell you about terrorist X, hiding from you that they're the other terrorist in the neighborhood, and they want to take that other guy out, which is fascinating.
That's the part that's really hard for people to grasp, is just how many sects there are in the region that don't get along. And so it's like, well, just wipe this out. It's like, yeah, but there's 12 other sects that you're not aware of.
Right, and even within the same sect, you've got people fighting for over control of the village or the neighborhood, or fighting over limited resources.
Yeah.
So even within those groups, there's so much antagonistic and fighting and competition.
So did you pay these guys off with like American money? Did you give them the Iraqi dinar? Which I had quite a bit of dinar at one point, but
Yeah, right.
I had $1 million of
Probably not worth very much now.
I had $1 million worth of dinar, and I think I paid $1,000 for it.
Nice move, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was both. Yeah, I think we dealt in all kinds of things. I think that's about all I can say there.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Paid in all types of currency. Hey, Michelle, a really interesting part of your book and your and Joseph's story is after you guys move on from the CIA, and it's what you do after in terms of security consultant work that then leads you to working with these refugees in Iraq. But before you get to that story, and that's an interesting one, tell us how hard it was for you to leave the CIA, just, both personally and also kind of like practically, what it's like to kind of unwind yourself from that world.
Yeah, it's such a great question. I mean, you become, when you work the counterterrorism mission, you become an adrenaline junkie, because what you're doing on a daily basis, you can see the results. You can see that you're saving lives. You're finding the car bomb before it goes off. You're finding the safe house with all the guns, all the weapons. And so you just think, like, it's kind of scary, the idea of leaving the CIA and not doing something so interesting. And then the flip side of that is, what do you do when you leave the CIA? Because you have no resume. You can't tell anybody what you've done for 10 years.
Yeah, you can't list it.
You have no Rolodex.
Yeah.
Because, you've been undercover in the Middle East. It's not like, oh, I have this, hundreds of people who can help generate a job or some interest.
So what do you really do on a resume? You say I worked for the government?
Yeah, you just have a giant 10-year blank spot on your resume.
Do you have a cover story? I worked for Kroger, and I was a middle manager.
You do.
Sweet.
You have a cover story. I can just tell you that it is the most boring resume you've ever seen. Like, you could never get hired off of that cleared resume.
Oh, that's so funny.
Now, you ultimately, you move on, and you're, you talk a lot in your book about the importance of prayer and your Christian faith, and you feel a tug to move toward these humanitarian efforts, you and your husband, and you get hooked up in June 2015 with producer Mark Burnett, who people know from Survivor, Shark Tank, The Apprentice, and so forth. But they're looking to support Christian families in the Middle East that have been displaced by ISIS fighters. So talk about how you got involved with that.
Yeah, so a friend who happened to have been brought into this project connected us with Mark. And the idea was, like, we don't know how we can help, but we've got to do something. And so, so at that point in time, people were people kind of understood what ISIS was and what the threat to Yazidis and Christians and other minorities was. That was clear, and to regular moderate Muslims. But what wasn't clear is for these people who had been repeatedly uprooted by ISIS or Al-Qaeda, who'd been persecuted and couldn't imagine living in their ancient homes or ancient villages any longer, how do we help them find a place of refuge or a safe haven? And so we said, we're not an organization, but we're a unique, coupling of these skill sets that are so strange and different. Let's see what we can do. And so, to make a very long story short, it's totally, outlined in the book. In 4.5 months, we were able to find a country willing to take in a group of internally displaced people, and we successfully airlifted 149 of those Iraqis out of northern Iraq to their new homes in Slovakia on December 10th, 2015. And I mean, just being involved in a project of that nature was, it was amazing. It was cool. It was difficult, but you could see how all of those skill sets you develop through your your lifetime all were able to be used in the service of a greater cause, and that's the best feeling in the world.
And that's where listeners might remember you and Joseph from 2020 covering your efforts to do that, to get those Christian refugees to Slovakia. There was no model to do what you guys were doing. I mean, you had to, in large part, vet these people very, very closely to make sure they weren't ISIS sympathizers. And you uncovered some of them, right? I mean, as you were interviewing people, you definitely knocked some off the list because of concerns.
Yeah, and it was just so interesting because we were so well positioned to do that, to vet these people, because the last thing you want to do is bring in anyone who could pose a threat to the receiving country. So we had to say, look, we did our due diligence, and we can say for sure these people are vulnerable, they're good people, and they're not going to come to your country and be, work for ISIS or just, be a criminal element. Even that, we don't want to bring those guys in either.
Mm-hmm. Well, not to get too political, but, the Trump travel ban goes to this very issue. And it's this vetting process that you went through. You know how hard it was and how painstaking you guys had to go through all the painstaking steps. Is that something that the public should be concerned about? Is our government currently able to vet these people properly?
So the answer is no. We're not able to vet properly, and I'll tell you why. Very few people in the U.S. government even know what vetting is or how to do it. Wow. It is a very specialized skill set that requires substantive expertise. The problem, it doesn't matter what administration you're talking about, they all use this word vetting. None of them have any idea what it is.
Yeah,
and so, and I don't believe in adding extra layers to an already inefficient bureaucratic process that doesn't work. We have to make that process smoother, quicker, and we need to hire people and train people with the skill set to do that. And we are not there. We're not even anywhere close to that.
You're outnumbered.
Right now.
You're so far outnumbered. It's just not possible when you're talking about taking in hundreds of thousands of refugees or something. And I wonder if the problem is what we've all seen our entire lives is what Hollywood displays. Hollywood shows us what the FBI is like, what the CIA is like, and they're always one step ahead of everybody. They're always right at the right spot. They've always got the perfect shot. They've got the save button. And it's just so not real. But I think we're all programmed to think that's why it's like, oh yeah, you think of the CIA as some almost not human level.
All knowing.
Yeah, all knowing. And
yes.
Well,
and then you get in, you realize how very wrong that is.
Yeah. How much do you rely on your?
Just to give you.
No, go ahead, Michelle. Sorry.
I was going to say, that the foundation of our vetting process in the U.S. government is running name traces. So to quickly educate listeners on this, so fascinating. If you've got people tracing Arabic names that have been transliterated into English, and they don't know the various transliterations, and each government agency has their own standards that don't match, then essentially you don't have people running traces that know how to even do a trace properly.
Oh, perfect.
That's really the bottom of vetting.
I feel safe.
You have to train people.
And how many times can you vet Muhammad Abdul Muhammad?
In preparation
Muhammad,
for this
Abdul.
book, I Googled Abu
Right.
Muhammad.
Yeah, Abu Muhammad.
Good
Yeah,
luck.
it's like good luck. There's 8 billion of them. Michelle, how much do you rely on your gut feeling? Because this is one of those things where you run the risk of being either too paranoid or being naive. And so how much are you relying on that? Like, I just don't feel right about this guy.
Oh my gosh, that was huge for me. Having an intuition that a case was bad or something was wrong or it just didn't feel right. And so it was really hard to then honor the intuition and do proper vetting or investigation because we were so busy in the war zone. And so it took a whole lot of extra energy to sit down and say, okay, what's bothering me? What's wrong with the case? And then what should I do about it? But intuition as an intelligence officer for me was absolutely critical. And once I realized that I kind of had a sixth sense when something wasn't right, then I kind of figured out what to hone in on. And I wouldn't call it paranoia, but as an intelligence officer, you're just supposed to not take anything at face value.
Right.
And for me, I don't believe things until I can prove it or I have some sort of, ability to check it out on my own. And I think that's how you have to approach these things.
And
if you think about it, that intelligence you're getting is going to be actioned by military elements. And so you're putting your military elements, your colleagues at risk, their lives at risk. if you're getting crap intelligence or fabricated information.
Yeah,
and that's not okay.
The consequences are so dire if you're wrong. They're
Right.
just the stakes are too high. You know, have you ever been outmatched by a guy you know, because you say in here how some of these guys are wickedly smart. You know, they're not dumb guys. They're very intelligent. Some of these guys. Have you ever felt like, God, I lost. I was outmatched by that guy.
There were a couple situations where I really did have an intuition that something was wrong, but I was never in a position where I could really do anything about it. And I was like, man, I think that guy won. Yeah, so that
Yeah.
yes, that happened.
Yeah. Reading some of the stuff really quick about going into Iraq, like if I never have to fly into Baghdad International in a military plane, and hear things like we're coming in black.
Yeah, man.
We're doing a corkscrew countermeasure to come into the airport. I don't like a little turbulence. I don't think I can handle that very well. Can you describe what that's like to fly into
Yeah.
Baghdad?
Oh my goodness, I had never experienced anything like it in my life. But when the stewards and stewardesses are like, okay, every light needs to be off in this plane, no electronics, all the window shades down. And then the plane is doing this corkscrew to stay right over the airport, so rockets can't be shot, through the sky to take you out.
Sure.
I mean, you're just like white knuckling it all the way to the ground. Just like, oh, this is not what I envisioned.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
And then to get to your green zone, it's like just over the tips of the houses and the trees. Don't give them any warning that we're up in the air and coming. It's just the thought of what that. I mean, it's just so different for life as we know it. But anyway, Michelle, thank you so much for the time. It's a great book.
It
I
is
hope-
very, very inspiring story. How
Yeah.
ordinary people can do extraordinary things, and we thank you for your time, Michelle. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
breaking cover. Thanks,
Thank
Michelle.
you both. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
All right,
Good
take
luck.
care.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Dude, some of the green zone. Did you read about the green zone? We can.
Oh yeah, dude, I read every freaking word of this book. What?
Don't get lippy with me.
What? Well, did I read about the green zone? Do
was
you
just-
want to see how
Sir, you're not being very hard off the glass right now, sir. I was just.
I'm hard off the glass all day long. Look, I'm sitting here with a Prince beard, okay?
Yeah, you look like such a homo right now.
I prefer douche.
Actually, the Prince beard you gave yourself that time was more douchey.
Yeah,
it was more
'cause it
thin,
was-
trim-lined, seam-lined, if you will.
Yeah, the
No,
green
I was-
zone stuff was
Dude, I was
crazy,
trying
man.
to nerve toss you like, did you read the part about the green zone? You
I
go,
did, Mike. I
Did I
enjoyed that
ever?
part.
Boy, I love that part about the green zone. Let me tell you something, sir.
No, dude, I think what we should have done in that interview though was push her on her blacked out areas. You know, she has a bunch of
know.
redactions in terms of locations. Just try to trick her into. So, you and Joseph, first you touched down in what was it?
What was it,
Yemen? Was it Yemen?
It was Yemen, Cairo.
Or
no,
Pakistan. What? Afghanistan. I don't remember.
dude,
Islamabad?
you know, it was like Syria or,
Oh, yeah.
or
Fuck yes.
Pakistan, Afghanistan,
Yemen.
Yes,
One of those four. Yeah.
Dude, I've often thought like I probably would have been a tremendous CIA agent, but the reason I didn't go that route, and we'll never know because I didn't end up going for it. But there's no way I could keep a secret. Like, dude, I would have to just be like, dude,
come here.
come here. You're not gonna fucking believe what I
Yeah.
just heard. Whoa!
Well, you know what? That's one thing about being married to another one. It would have been cool. You know,
Yeah.
it would be
Oh.
tremendously difficult to just have that on your own.
Could
but-
you imagine if you were a secret CIA agent? You have to go home to Gab, and
Yeah.
it's just like, hey, how's it
No, I'm
going?
just a podcast hero.
and you're
it's
sitting on
fact.
like, holy shit, the alien stories were real.
Yeah.
It's totally true. You would have to. Wouldn't you have a weak moment to be like, look, Gab,
Guess what? The aliens are real.
they're real. I can't say any more about it, but I had to get that off my chest. I just did. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that would be tremendously difficult. And then to leave, like she said, to pull out of that and give up all that insider info and
Yeah.
the adrenaline rush of knowing that shit, knowing what's coming, knowing what's happening on the inside.
When she's talking about Sonny, some
yeah.
guy at a party, just kind of hot shot. He's
thi-
cock of the walk,
This
right?
is during her period where she and Joseph are out of the CIA. They're now private security consultants.
Yeah.
And they've been asked to attend this investor meeting.
Yeah.
And Sonny,
Cock of the walk.
Cock of the walk. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Just put down $100,000 on this custom Harley. And she's like, she turns this guy upside down in just a few questions.
Yeah, he's doing one of those like he's just hot shitting it around there, like no one's gonna call him on it. It's doing some work, some undercover stuff and this and that. And she's like, oh yeah, where this and that, and he tries to get away by just going, I can't really talk about it.
It's like, let's put it this way. I get a paycheck from Langley. CIA
Yeah.
headquarters.
She's
And
like-
she's like, nobody in the CIA refers to it as
Langley,
Like, yeah, I
asshole.
work for Langley. I get a paycheck from Langley. So this dude's trying to bilk this group of people out of funds for an investment. And she's just like, yeah. She just exposed him as a total fraud.
Just with her techniques she'd learned, it was like,
simple questioning.
Yeah. Well, it's just so funny because people take people at face value a lot, and when you that'd be so fun though. It's almost like a party trick to be able to throw a question out there,
Yeah.
see what the response is, and then based on that response, throw in another one
Yeah.
and just get these guys sweating.
Yeah. She
Just
said
like,
he was physically sweating. Like he had to remove his jacket and he had pit stains
Yeah.
and everything.
That's awesome.
She's just turning him in
dude,
knots.
it's a game. How fun would that
Yeah.
be? Oh, it's great. Anyway, Michelle Rigby Assad. You wanted me to call her Assad.
Assad.
And I was like, I
thought
just
the whole
don't think
time
it's
I'm reading this
Assad.
book, I'm like, I think it's Assad.
Pretty sure it's not Assad.
I'm glad.
So I'm glad I went with my gut, my intuition, which is why I would have been a great agent in the CIA and called her Assad. But again, it's called Breaking Cover, and we'll have it in our bookstore, right?
Yep.
So people can go there and order it. It's a fun read.
It'll be there.
The Detroit Cast continues after this short break.
Hey, TDC listeners, this is Kelly from the Hamlin Pubs inviting you to our 5 Metro Detroit locations. Come enjoy Hamlin Pubs' great food, drinks, and atmosphere. Whether you're watching the game with your buddies, out for a meal with the family, or out for a great night with that special someone, it's always a great time at our Rochester, Clarkston, Chesterfield, and our 2 Shelby Township locations. Hamlin Pub also offers party packages. We are the perfect spot for that rehearsal dinner, graduation, birthdays, or other events. For more information about our locations, including live entertainment calendars, go to hamlinpubs.com. Hope to see you soon, Detroit Cast listeners.
The Detroit Cast continues now, bitches. Here's Mike and Jay.
Alrighty. Welcome back to the Detroit Cast, powered by DealsInTheD.com with Mike and Jay.
Mike, if you don't own a truck, winter sucks. Who can help? Our friends at Zott Ford and Holly, of course. Beat the winter blues by leasing a brand new loaded 18 F-150 Super Cab 4x4 as low as $131 a month. This isn't a base model bullshit truck. This is a Ford F-150 four-wheel drive with all the toys, and it's only $131 a month. See details and their massive inventory at DealsInTheD.com.
More.
What?
More.
What are you talking
More
about?
reads. You got one
Oh,
more,
you want
right?
another one? Okay.
I do.
Hey, insurance. We all need it. Most of us don't know what kind of coverage we have or who provides it. Let fellow TDC listener Brent Wasik from Wasik Insurance Services change all that. Brent has over 29 years in the business, probably over 30 at this point. Offers all types of insurance coverage, auto, home, health, life, business, commercial, and more. Call Brentley today. Brent Wasik at 734-455-1900. Get a free, no-obligation quote today.
Brentwood.
Brentwood. Yeah, I like Brentwood.
Brentwood Wasik. It's his actual name. You know what? We almost forgot, Jay.
Brentington.
Yep. It is. You're going to be excited because I know how much you like to learn. It's Big E History Day.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, we got to
This
get
day
it
in
today.
history with Big E.
That's right. Isis, are you ready? Because we're almost out of show.
Yeah, sure. All right, it's February. Damn this. My
Off to a strong start.
My-
Very good.
28th. E.
February 28th. MASH ended this time. On this day.
Okay, I'm a visual learner, so
Damn.
thank you for trying to put up that
Shit.
goodbye
I'm trying to put up the
JPEG.
Boy, I'm disappointed. I hated MASH.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a big show, though, from what I heard. It was
Had a tranny on it. Had a tranny, right?
I got to be honest with you, Mike. I didn't like it either.
Yeah. Not a
Well,
fan of MASH.
I just know that it was still the biggest series finale of all time.
Will be
in that
forever,
sense,
too.
With that fact, I think it means that it's important. I think it means it's something big.
Or
Well
it means
put
that
it.
we're only 3 channels on TV.
True, but there were still a lot of shows out there that didn't do it. Dallas couldn't do it. 80 million people watching Dallas is who it took over for.
How many people watched the finale?
Of
MASH.
MASH.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're doing the show on.
105. They say like it's weird because they say 105 million total viewers, but 121 million people watched it, and that's because that over the last 6 minutes, an extra like 15 million people
Just
watched
jumped in.
just the very end of it. So
I didn't.
No, me either.
Well, you were.
You know what? My dad was probably watching it.
Maybe. I don't remember.
It was a
Mine
It was a 2-hour finale. It was actually meant to be possibly a movie. It was never meant to be like as a syndication thing necessarily. And they all kind of decided that they felt like, this was into the 11th season. It ended in 11 seasons, but the 11th season was shortened. As we know, the most series do not end in February. But they had all kind of taken a vote at the end of the 10th and said, like, you know what? I think we should end this thing. It's going to start getting stagnant. We want to go out on top. We want to go out doing good. So CBS allowed them to do an 11th season, but they had to be a shortened season because it says that because they thought that the shortened season would allow the finale to be a big bang. They'd have everyone would be, they wouldn't be competing
up
with
for
other
it.
finales. They'd be in the middle of.
Sure.
I always felt like Ellen Alda kind of sucked, and he was
Wow.
the primary,
yeah,
Hawkeye.
That is a
Hawkeye
shock.
Pierce.
Kind of annoyed me, too.
Yeah.
That's a
It's kind of
shot.
douchey.
Which one was the tranny?
Max Klinger, right?
What was this character's name? Do you remember?
Max Klinger.
Was it Klinger?
Yeah.
Klinger.
There's the whole gang, I guess.
Yeah, Jamie Farr. From Toledo, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
Aldo was the only one that was in all.
That chick must have been considered hot at the
Margaret
time, right?
Houlihan. Well,
How
the
do
thing
you
about
know
her,
this?
the thing about her is she went braless much of the time.
Yeah, which is kind
So
of
it's
nice.
like, all right,
I can
some
respect
nips
that.
every now and then.
Yeah.
But
Ellen-
BJ Honeycutt, Winchester,
But you know,
Father
though, again,
Mulcahy.
sometimes you look
I
at-
don't know.
You know, I haven't
Radar
watched.
O'Reilly.
How do you
None
know
of them-
this?
I watched it a few times.
Okay, well, I haven't watched much of MASH myself, but sometimes it takes that first something to break through to change stuff. And MASH was one of the first real drama comedies. They really broke the mold for not just having the problem, just be like, oh. So I read a thing saying like it broke the mold, just like not necessarily just being like having the boss over to dinner and burning the meatloaf.
Yeah.
like they had a
Okay.
real kind of They did not
There was
want.
definitely drama involved with
yeah.
soldiers dying and
Well, and they did not want
angst
even laugh
there.
track at all, actually. And CBS kind of forced it. And I guess that they fought back enough that in the surgery scenes, like when they were in the the tent with the hospital, there was not a laugh track. And as the series went on, they tried as hard as they could to like lessen and lessen the laugh track
Yeah.
and have it be more real.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but that open with the helicopter.
You always think it's going backward, right? The way
Yeah,
they filmed
like,
it.
yeah, it was weird.
I was
like,
confused by that.
And the theme, like I didn't like the song really.
Yeah, me
It
either.
just didn't grab me, So I was always annoyed. It was like that, and
I think I was at an age too when it was syndicated that I was watching it, and it was just a little bit too old for me to get the jokes,
yeah, maybe.
and it just wasn't. There wasn't enough action. I'm like, okay, this is all army green and brown, too many earth colors.
Yeah.
I got to get out of this.
And I'm a fan of earth tones. I really am. It's one of my favorites. But you're right, too much green and brown. And that helicopter, the song didn't grab me. There were certain shows like that. Petticoat Junction was one of those where when it came out in the afternoon, it was like, fuck.
yeah, Petticoat
Junction. Yeah, no, pass.
This was the only episode of MASH that had the title of the episode in the goodbye, farewell, amen. None of the
Ooh,
other
couldn't get
episode
away with that
names
today.
were.
Amen. A people, maybe, but you couldn't.
Great point.
And
They had-
even the religious aspect. I mean, you would have people picketing that show. The fact
had
that
so
it
many-
dared say amen in it.
There was so much interest from advertisers.
Might
that
be
they
able to
did-
get, goodbye, farewell, and Allah Akbar would be fine
That
in
would
America
pass
today.
muster.
Yeah, that would be okay, but goodbye, farewell, and amen. Wow, risky.
There was
Risky.
so much interest from advertisers that they did break it up to 30-second ads for a sitcom like this, which was pretty much the only people done that was a Super Bowl. $450,000 for a 30-second ad on the final episode of MASH.
Were they doing minute ads before that?
It just says that there was such a high demand for it that they sold 30-second blocks of ads. I think just for sitcoms, probably, maybe. I was like, and then it was a 2-hour special, but it was actually only supposed to be an hour and a half. But there's a brush fire scene, I guess, in the final. It sounds like you guys don't care, maybe didn't even see it. But there was a brush fire scene in the show, and that was not meant to be in the episode. It was meant to be a 90-minute episode, but it affected the filming so much that they threw it in as part of the final episode in the end, but also extended the show to 2 hours from an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I find it interesting. What was I going to say? There was a few other things I guess I thought were... They didn't film the last episode. They didn't film the last episode like in order. It was because of the production they did with it at the time required.
Was it super hush hush like the Luke I'm your father line? Only like 2 people knew.
Well, the thing is, though, they filmed the final in the summer, and then they filmed just the rest of the season in order. So the actual final episode was called As Time Goes By, where they did a situation where they all put a time capsule in the ground, and in the episode, that's the one they actually filmed last, but they filmed the finale in the summer. It was this was funny.
Hollywood.
It was so big. It actually was so big though. Like you always hear the jokes of like the Super Bowl commercial. Not always. I don't think you hear them anymore. But there used to be jokes sometimes like, "Oh, everyone flushing at the same time and it caused a problem." There was an actual problem in New York because so many people were waiting to the end of the show to go to the bathroom that it did have a
Just holding massive shits in.
massive shits and pisses.
2 hours shits.
And that there legitimately was like a backup and a problem in New York, and it was absolutely linked to the ending of the episode
Dude,
of
that
MASH.
was a real problem back in the day, where before VCRs, before TiVos, and it aired live, and you caught it or you didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't want to go take a massive.
No.
You couldn't take a 6-minute shit in the middle of your favorite sitcom.
It's a different world.
Yeah, troubling.
Like a lot of shows.
Not hopeful.
Like
No.
a lot of shows, which it always, so many times we're proven. Now, granted, some shows just suck and some shows are good, but it just shows that executives and people that are on the artistic side don't usually fucking know what's going to be good or bad. It was almost canceled after the first season, bad ratings. Most shows, a lot of shows are like that. Seinfeld famously did terrible for, I think, 3 years even or something.
You wonder what's been canceled that we've missed out on.
Probably a lot. Nowadays, you won't get 4 seasons to find your legs. Won't do it. Nope.
Right. You know, one of the only ones, honestly, I've ever known, Mike, is that Friends. Friends was good right off the bat, apparently. Like, it really was a hit right off the bat.
Yeah.
Anyway, and this is one, they ended with the war ending, and a lot of executives did not want them to end with the war ending, to the point where one guy, I guess they were in the film, like in the set or whatever, and he comes down and says, "You can't end it like this, blah, blah, blah." And someone just says, "You know what? Surprised you to know that the war did end." And he just apparently said nothing and walked off stage after that. But it was like one of these,
Put him in his place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so. Anyway.
Thank you, Isis. That was
problem.
marginally interesting. Not your fault.
Not your
just
fault, yeah.
Got 2 guys who don't give a fuck about
I
MASH.
thought it was an interesting topic.
I'm surprised he would he would go that route, because there's no way E was interested in that either.
Yeah.
No,
You know,
but I'm
like
interested
E-
in big moments, and I like TV.
Yeah, that's true, but you wouldn't have been a MASH fan. You probably.
I'm considering watching it now, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother.
Hey, everybody,
I don't
Hamlin
even hold up.
Pubs, they're inviting you to their 5 Metro Detroit locations. Come enjoy Hamlin Pubs. Great food, drinks, and atmosphere. Whether you're watching a game with your buddies, out for a meal with your family, or out for an evening with your girl, it's always a great time at their Rochester, Clarkson, Chesterfield, and 2 Shelby Township locations. Moreover, during ZOT M59, Chrysler Jeep, and ZOT M59, Dodge Ram President's Day event, you get choices. Lease a new 18 Dodge Journey or a new 18 Dodge Charger or an 18 Jeep Compass. All of these are all-wheel drive. Your choice, just $199 a month. No need to call, email, or fax. Just head to ZOT Chrysler Jeep or ZOT Dodge Ram. Get your fresh new 4x4 for $199 a month, only from dealsinthed.com.
You know, Mike, you always need someone to pave the... No, I thought you might find this. You always need someone to pave the way, though, dude. And this show, really, when I read about it, like, they had battles left and right with how many times they could say damn and how many times they could show something serious. So they really did
They did have a
try
tranny. They had a
not
tranny.
to, like...
Why are you going to bat so much for this dumb show?
Because I think it's I think you're
Stop
really
trying
giving
to sell
a lack
me on
of
MASH.
I think you're giving
I
a lack
didn't
of
like it when it
respect.
aired. I'm not going to get into
I
it
think
now.
you're giving a laugh of respect for someone who's trying to do his own thing and
Dude,
be edgy
everything
himself.
progresses to go forward.
Okay, well, this was a
Everybody
show that
plays
did it.
their
You would say
everybody
that-
plays their part.
Why do you care about NWA?
The first time someone farted on TV, it was like, whoa!
Well, who
farted
cares
on
about
TV.
anything that sets precedent then?
I think this may be a case of E trying to cover up a better moment in history that he
no.
ignored, and now
What?
he's trying to pump up
Ease
his
it. I
don't
chosen
believe so. I don't believe
moment
so.
in history.
What
We'll
if-
have to look after the
Yeah,
show.
we'll have to take a look. You forgot to do some of your reads before the review, didn't you?
Maybe I did.
Not very hard off the glass all day long.
I'm hard off the glass all day long, as stated by one DMAC, number 25.
That's not a move someone hard off the glass all day long would do. Forget
All right,
to do his reads before
I'll
the
do
end.
better next time. Hey, if you want to write into the show, send us your thoughts to email at DetroitCast.com. I do have a moment. I think I can get to a couple here.
Yeah.
Josh writes in concerning Ron Illich, the now late Ron Illich. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple days ago. Some years back, says Josh, I was on the way to a Wings game. I typically went to games alone. Dude, I respect that, Josh. I love the notion of you going to games alone.
Something your brother would do. Yeah, movies alone,
Went
games
to Wings
like
playoff game alone by myself. Too.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a pretty good move in that you're going to be able to concentrate on the game and take it all in.
Yeah.
When you're with 1, 2, 3 people, invariably you're off conversing.
I don't know how I feel about that move. It's not one I would
like it,
would
Josh. I
dare
like it.
to attempt. Never.
At the time, says Josh, my pregame tradition was to go to Hockeytown Cafe for a few brews while sitting at the bar alone. A gentleman sits next to me, and I can't help but think to myself, man, he looks like Mr. I.
Yeah.
Rain-soaked possum hair.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
He then proceeds to strike up a convo with me because he, too, was by himself, and it turns out it was Ron. Honestly, one of the nicest guys. He was incredibly honest about his troubles, but you couldn't help but like the dude. He even had his own official Stanley Cup rings, which he let me try on, and furthermore, gave me his number in case I ever wanted to go to a game. I never called because I don't want to be that fan looking for a handout. But again, I just wanted to mention how awesome he was. Thoughts and prayers and all that shit.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
At all. A lot of those guys that have had, for whatever reason, hardships in life, and they've got interesting stories to tell. They've lived life, and it's too bad. You never want to see someone go down at 61 and
Yeah.
trying to get it together, and it sounds like it was a real struggle right till the very end. But, yeah, I don't know. Rest in peace, Mr.
Rest in peace,
Mr.
sweet
I.
prince.
That's right.
Sir, we will save the rest for tomorrow.
Very good. Very good.
What do I do with this beard? Do I keep wearing
You
it?
take it off.
You know
Yeah,
what?
You take it off is what you do.
It's kind of growing on me. No pun intended.
Yeah, that's what that.
The
that's
sweet
what they
pie
do.
wants it off immediately. She's afraid of it, I think. I think it
Why?
looks a bit dastardly. Does it have a hint of
It's
dastard?
not- you know what? If you were pointed on the edges at all, if
I
you had
think-
any sort of,
I think the soul patch area has a hint of dastard.
there's a bit of a devilish look to it. Kind of pointed, maybe pitchforkian.
The other side of the coin, though, Manny loves it.
Yeah,
So
does
you
he?
got to keep it. You got to
Well,
keep it.
sounds like we need to get Russell's input here and find out what the decision's going to be.
Okay.
Although
I think Mrs. King is the one who should have the final
Yeah,
say.
she's like, you look
you're a dork.
ridiculous.
Yeah, and you are. I think you're going to put more stock in what Tana Girl says anyway. So
Little tiny girl.
it's worth 2 votes. So
Yeah, I can't scare the sweet pie.
yeah, I don't want to scare the sweet.
So I think I'm going to come freshly shorn tomorrow.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I don't think you want to be rolling around town. Forget you have that on.
I know.
Yeah.
I actually canceled an appointment to the
It's-
bank today.
Yeah,
I'm
it
like,
just
I can't.
it looks like you care way more than you should.
Right.
You know what I mean?
More than I do,
yeah.
frankly.
And people that know you and know how little you actually care about much, it just doesn't fit.
I know, I gotta
because
get
it
rid of it.
screams, yeah, this is
at
important to me.
me.
This is important to me.
It's almost like I'm changing the subject from something.
Yeah. No, they're going to think that, but you're not. You're just kind of douched out from Detroit barbers.
In reality, Mike, I'm hard off the glass all day long.
Fair enough. All right, everybody. Have a good rest of the day. We'll do it again tomorrow. We'll see you then.
You've been listening to the Detroit Cast with your hosts, Mike and Jay. From all of us at Radio for One Studios, thank you for listening. And as always, thank you, Detroit.
It's a